Happy New Year, everyone. I am so excited for this new year. Hopefully it's a good year in 2026. This year was, it was mostly okay. There was some things that happened near the end of it, but then it got better. But yeah, it was a very good theater and book year for me. So I am going to do a year wrap up. I'm going to do a book wrap up for this video of all my favorites, because I would have done every book I've read this year, but I didn't keep track. And some of the books I read weren't books, and they were in a booklet because it was for a class, and so I don't have the book because it's not a full book. So I'm just going through my favorites that I read, and then I think I'm going to do a TBR. I'm going to hide the book. You didn't see. I'm going to just hold them up one by one. So, but first I thought I would do some honorable mentions. So first one that I thought of was Passing by Nella Larsen, which I do have the book, and so I would want a visual. I want visuals for every book I'm going to be talking about, but I don't have a visual because I didn't think to bring it up. I do have it, but it's really good. It's about this. It's set in the 20s, because it was written during the 20s in the Harlem Renaissance, about this black woman who can pass for white, and she meets this her old friend who also passes as white as does, and her friend has a really, really racist husband, and so it's just about that dynamic and stuff, and it's really good, and it's also gay, I think, because there's there's subtext of gay, it's not overtly because it was the 20s, but yeah, the two women do seem to have more romantic feelings towards each other than they do their husbands, which also valid for Clara's husband, because her husband is horrible. And then I was gonna spoil it, but then it's wait, this book has been out for 100 years at this point. I'm gonna say, and then Irene, the main character, kills Claire. She just pushes her through the window, and then it was to protect her. I think that's the main consensus. It wasn't just because oh, I'm gonna kill you. It was for defense, I guess, because her husband's found out that he his wife was a black woman, and he hates black women and black people in general, and he's and then it was horrible, and then so it was defense, I think. To my next honorable mentions, I have a bunch of books to just talk about here. They're musical theater books. There's a book about Hamilton that's discussing what went into writing the songs, and then there's interviews with the cast and creative team, and just background about the story and stuff, and little historical notes and stuff, and it's really cool, and they have shots from the production. And save this, I dog-eared it because I don't know why. I think I just forgot to I'll just have it in my place. So they have a bunch of interviews, and then they have excerpts from books and stuff, and they have actual documents too, just in the regular, and not going, it's just the cover of the document, but they have that, and then it's this. Yeah, it's really cool, and I really like Hamilton. It's a very fun reason. It's very underrated too. It's very but the next religion is it's a booklet of Angelia. This is not a book. It's more at most it's a magazine. But I thought I would mention it because why not? It's a little blurb about how When Juliet got started. It started because Max Martin wanted a musical of his wife was oh, you should write a musical, a musical should be made of all your songs. And he's like, oh, cool. And then David West Reed, in a post-concussed state, came up with a story for *Anne Juliet*. And then there's like it's like a picture book basically, but it's really, it has like details on the costuming and how the costuming has to do with like characters and stuff, and like what the thought process was behind that, and that's really cool. And then in the spirit of the Wicked franchise being completed in the movies, the musical is obviously still running. Yay! The Wicked, the Grimmery, and this is just like it's the same thing as the Hamilton one, so I don't think it gives into the songs, but it has like a whole timeline of like Oz, and it has a whole like all the way through like the author of the Wizard of the Oz, like birth. It's really cool, and the illustrations are really cool, and it goes into like all the things. It is like really cool, and they have like interviews from a bunch of different actors who have played the roles of like Linda, Elphaba, Bach, Dr. Dillamond, Nessa, and Fiyero. And it's it's Broadway and national tour is what they cover, like they did the interview. I think it's like really cool. And then they have like a thing of how long it takes to get ready. They have a whole like Stephanie J. Block's transformation into Elphaba in here, which I think is like pretty cool. So they cover, and it's like a bunch of like interviews from the original cast, other cast members. It's really cool. Not the most recent cast, so they don't have anything about like Cynthia Erivo or anyone because this was like before. Wait, I want to see like when it was published in it was posted in 2005, or like that's like what it says like on the little copyright page. So yeah, it's been a while. But yeah, and then there's the Dear Evan Hansen book, and also like Sprayed Edges. Basically it's not this is like it goes into like the story behind how like the creative team got together, and how like the story of the story, which I think is like really cool. And it has like I read some and it has like actor interviews, like Rachel Bay Jones did a interview her character, Ben Platt did one for it, it's just like I think this just covers like the original cast, so it's not like as in depth as like the Wicked one. And also the Hamilton one I think also just covers the original cast, but like the Wicked one covers like trans cast, like the first few like replacements, and on the national tour as well. Yeah, this is like really cool. I just started reading it. I've had it since this summer because it was my sister's, but yeah, that is it for the honorable mentions. And now I'm going to get into the favorite books I have read in 2025. Okay, first off we have Long Live Evil. I'm going in order of when I read them. I tried to do close. Long Live Evil by Sarah Rees Brennan. This book is so good. It's about this cancer patient who she's like on the brink of death because like her cancer, essentially she's like dying of cancer, and then she gets this chance to like get transported into her sister's favorite book, and it's like not her favorite book, but it's her sister's favorite book, and like she got really like into the book too. Like she knows like everything is happening, and she gets transported into the story, but she gets transported like as the villain, so it's like she already like isn't like, so she gets transported into the story as this already established character. It's not like she's just this so like new creative. So she like clearly is responsible for a bunch of these people's origin stories, and like she kind of like messes around with the plot just by like accident, just like, and she like gets a better understanding of the characters too because she actually like knows them, and like that's like really cool that she's like, oh, like king and neighborhood, and it gets into like the actual story too. So I think it's really cool. And also I got this for the regular price of a book, like, which is like a book, but like is I like this, like it says Time of Iron on here because that's the book she gets transported into, and then it has a little like this, and then this. And this was for the regular price of the book. This is so pretty, and it was like just the full price of a regular book. I think that's really cool because like the original price was like $45, but I have store credit in the store I got it from, so it was cheaper. Still not cheap because books aren't cheap. But yeah, and then I read Amelia with If Only. I don't have the cover because I left it in my dorm. As like I don't like the taglines. I really love the cover, but I don't like the tagline, so I was like on the back, because it's a little cringy to have. Like I think it's, I don't know, but this is about Amelia. She is in love with her best friend, but she's in very much denial about it, and her best friend just like dumped her girlfriend. But her girlfriend, like she, like Amelia thinks that her best friend got dumped because that's how it goes, and so they go on this road trip in this college to like see this YouTuber that Amelia really likes, and it goes into it alternates between the actual story and there's little excerpts from Walter, the YouTuber's life, like not actually, it's told through like excerpts of like a podcast interview or like the actual like YouTube or like the like Tumblr posts where people are speculating whether Walter and the guy he like did videos with, like whether they were in a relationship or not, and like it like has to do a lot with like parasocial relationships and stuff, and I think that's really interesting, and I think it was done well. Like this was the only book that really explored that I've ever read, but like it was really good. I really like Becky Obertalli's books because they just feel very comforting and they feel like very warm, and so like whenever I don't know what to read and I really wanted to read something, I'm just like, oh, I'll read one of Becky Bertelli's books because they're very like, even if like it's like not exactly warm and fuzzy topics all the time, 100% of the time, it's always a happy ending. You like, and also I've read all of her books, so like I know what's going to happen, and sometimes you just want that. So I really like rereading books. Which might not be good for a book YouTube channel because you need, but and I read Our Violent Ends by Chloe Gong. This book, I have read this before. It's the second book in the These Violent Delights duology, but this is very good. It is the best conclusion book I think I've read, like besides like Crooked Kingdom, by Leigh Bardugo. This book is so good. It's set in the 1920s, and it is a Romeo and Juliet retelling, and none of them, it's very ambiguous where Romeo and Juliet die, like because like you don't know, like no body starts to be found, they just have the graves, but no like nobody found because like didn't actually die, but like like epilogue, you don't know, like it's like everyone in their lives think that they like. I just think that was like, this is like really well written, and it sets up the spin-off series really well, where like it's like the spin-off series can be read as its own thing, but like this sets it up also, like how like these characters come into it. I think is really well written, and it just like sets up where it is an open-ended ending. Like I don't know, I'm explaining it poorly, but this is like one of my favorite books. So yeah, it's very good, and I love it. And I read Misty Copeland's memoir. I've read this before. I've read it when I was in 5th grade. But this is a very good memoir. I think it's the first memoir I've ever read. Like book, obviously, like this year I've read like memoirs like since then, but like, and so I reread this, and it's really good. If you didn't know, Misty Copeland was the first Black principal dancer in the American Ballet Theater Company. And I think she took her final bow with this company like this year, or something. I think, which she has a very interesting life, and like she gets in like how hard being a ballerina was, and how like if she was like thought of giving up, she just thought of like what she was doing for like other Black women who want to be like ballerinas and stuff, and like I thought it was like really cool. And like how her story with ballet and dance is like really cool, and how she danced with Prince like in like the tours, which like I forgot about that, and then I read that, I was like, oh, that's like really cool. And then like, and like she's just a very cool person, and like her writing style is very like, it just feels like she's talking to you, which is like how memoirs are supposed to be, I think, but like she does it in a very cool way where it just feels like she's just like literally just having a conversation with a friend, and I think that's like really cool. And it's really well written, I think. This is the young readers edition, so like I'm not sure what's different from the regular edition, so I might want to read the regular edition just to see like what is different. Yeah. Then I read Better in Black by Cassandra Clare. This is a short story in the Shadowhunter series, and I do have the jacket cover. Wait. Yes, I have it. Okay. So yeah, this is the jacket cover. This is like the cover without the cover. I think this is more pretty. But this is like 10 love stories in the Shadowhunter world, and it has an excerpt of the last like book. I don't know, book. And so I think that's really cool. These are always over, and it's like very nice to like, because like I can always like reread the Shadowhunter books that I have, but this was really cool to get new stories of characters that I already know, and they're short stories. It's a collection of short stories, obviously, because 10 shorts, but like it's a very good collection. And I went to the event, which was really cool. It was the first event I ever did. I like did a YouTube video about it where he talked about like for like 19 minutes about it or something. But yeah, I went to the event for that, and that was really cool, and like everyone's questions were really good. And I had my question answered, which I posted that also. But yeah, this was a really good book. A lot of the stories were like really fun and like really good like ways to like get back into the world of these characters. And then in the Barnes & Noble special edition, which I got like included in the ticket price of the event, it was the Cassandra Clare's thought process of like what couples she chose to do, and how basically this was a writing exercise that got published, which I think is really cool, how like writing exercises could end up being like stuff you actually draw inspiration from, like how like these were all, like how like some little short thing can turn into a whole like 10, 15, 20 page story, which I think is really cool. I said that number because I didn't really count the number of pages, because like I sometimes I do that when I'm not really liking a story, but I really love this because it is characters you know and love, I know and love, but in stories that were completely new to me, so I thought that was cool. And it got me hype for the new series, which was really cool. Next I read John Proctor's The Villain by Kimberly Bellflower. I really liked this play. I didn't get to see it when it was running because the tickets were really expensive. But this is the story about this high school, and it has to do with like teachers not being great. Like that's not what it is. It's like it has to do with like, oh well, okay, I'm explaining this like really poorly, but like I feel like the least you know the better. It's like, well, like if they're like this high school, they're doing the Crucible, they're like let's say the Crucible, they're like, well, John Proctor isn't really that great because like he's like what the women aren't really fleshed out in the story, and like the women like are really seen as the villains in the story, painted out to like these villains, and like why are like these people slut-shaming these women, whereas like really the men who are behaving badly and behaving poorly and just pitting it all on the woman, like oh but the man is so honorable and like da da da, and has to go with like the parallels between John Proctor and Mr. Smith are really interesting because it basically goes through the same arc where like you're like oh well Mr. Smith couldn't have like slept with like the 16-year-old because he's so good. He said like couldn't have done that. He couldn't have done that. So like couldn't like this character's dad couldn't have done that. Like even though it like really paints a picture, well she's telling you that did happen. Shelby, Sadie Sink's character, who Sadie Sink played, like that did happen to her, where like these older men like that, and it was like I'm not going to explain it very well but like it's just a very good play. I highly recommend reading it. And yeah, read this play. It is so good. Like if you can't see it, read it, and if you can't read it, then look up a slime tutorial on YouTube. It is very good. And I read If We Were Villains by ML Rio, and this book is really good. It's been out since 2017, but I just got into reading it literally like last week. This book is about this, it alternates between 10 years after the events of the main story and the main story, and the main story is like Shakespeare, this company, like this senior company in this conservatory. It's like the Shakespeare company where they only pawn Shakespeare, like that's the only place they do, and where like and one of the group gets murdered. Is like he was really abusive, like he was like really like putting the rest of the group in danger in the end, and then it's like all this like creepy stuff keeps happening, and like main character, like all this stuff like keeps happening to him around it. He's observing it, like he more stuff happens where he's involved in, but he keeps painting it as, oh, I was just so far removed from the situation, when he wasn't, because his best friend like did the stuff, and then the person he's in love with his best friend and this other girl, I mean not this other girl, this guy named James and Meredith, he's in love with both of them, and he's like, oh well, like I'm so far removed from like this situation, even though both of the people he's in love with are very heavily intertwined with the stuff that happened, and so is he, because like he was part of the friend group too, and it's just a really good book, and I highly recommend it. It's a little slow, like paced, kind of, also not really, but it is very good. Okay, this next book I'm putting up as a visual because I read another book, but this is like, okay, I read this is Agent Josephine by Damian Lewis. I did not read this. I'm going to read this sometime, but I read Fearless and Free by Josephine Baker. It's her memoir that it was originally published in 1940, but it has never been published until 2025, so it's just like very new to the United States. It's like been out in the world for a very long time, but this is the first time it's published in the United States. I already returned it from the library, but I have this book, so I'm using it as a little thing to hold up. But yeah, it's a very great memoir, because it's like she didn't actually write it, her friends did, but like it's literally word for word what she said, because it's basically like she's like verbally telling it and he wrote it down, so like it's basically her stuff, her own words, like this guy just wrote it and she's like, go write this down, like that, and it was very well written. Like there's something that because like she does like make very broad generalizations about Jewish people because she's saying and which is like addressed in the preface of the book, like that like yeah but like other than that, it's like very good, and I highly recommend it because Josephine Baker was an amazing human being. She was so amazing. Like she had a very full life and she had a very interesting life too. She was just a very interesting person, and so I highly recommend reading anything by her. This book is like, I read like the prefaces of it. It's not her life story. It's like it has like stuff about her like life before in the background, but this is her contribution to the war effort, and it's not only about her, it's about other people too. So just keeping in mind, if you want the full I would recommend Fearless and the Free and maybe watching a biopic first, like because like yeah. And then I have Masters of Death, which I haven't read that much of it. I'm only on page 14, but the first chapter is from Death's point of view, as this guy who like literally is the godson of death, and so I just wanted to talk about this because I'm very excited to keep reading this because I haven't really been in a reading mood lately, so I haven't really been like, oh, I want to read it. I do really want to read it, but I'm also like, I don't really want to read. But yeah, that's it for the books I have read in this year that are my favorites. I've read more than that, but those were just a few of my favorites. And so to my TBR for 2026, I have more to be read books, but that I want to read. But these are the books that like immediately, because I have them, I want to read. And that is Agent Josephine. This is about Josephine Baker's effort, contributions to the war effort, the French wars, because she was French. She was like spent most of her life as a French citizen and lived in France, and like France was the place she loved like more than anything in the world. Like she loved Paris, she loved France, she like and like how she like used her stardom as a cover, which is like really like, it's just like really good. She didn't really talk about her like contributions to the war, but she was very heavily involved in it. She just didn't talk about it. Like most of the stuff that happens, like she took it to her grave, so we really don't know too terribly much anyway, but there is like some stuff that we uncovered throughout the years. I say we, like I was a part of it, I was not, but I'm very excited to read this. And then we have Simply More by Cynthia Erivo. This book, I've been wanting to read it since it came out because like it's about Cynthia Erivo because she wrote it, and so I think that was like really cool. And so I'm excited to know more about her because she seems really cool. And then have Swordcatcher by Cassandra Clare. This is Cassandra Clare's adult debut. She has another one in the series. It's called The Rap. I can't pronounce it. But like the other book in the series is out. This is the first book in the Candaceline Chronicles. I don't know how to say it, but it seems really cool. It's about like royalty and stuff, and how like this like one guy is destined to die for this other guy, and then he meets this woman who like is a physician. He meets this physician, and then like there's a failed assassination attempt, and I think that it is interesting, and I'm excited to read it. So yeah, that is it for my book video.